Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mabimpressions. Today I want to talk about Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. This game comes out July 9th and it's going to be available on Nintendo Switch, which is where I played, and the Steam version. Now, let's get into it right away. Do I recommend it? Is it a good game? Yes, it's a very good game and I highly recommend it. If you don't know what this is a spin-off from the Monster Hunter series, where instead of it being action, it is a turn-based RPG, kind of like Pokemon, and we're going to get into all the differences and exactly what makes it crazy different and stand out. So if you have played the first Monster Hunter just as a precursor and you love that game, this is a definite 100% buy. It is a perfect sequel. Everything is upgraded, the graphics, the combat, all the new mechanics and features. It's a must buy for fans of the first game. And you can play the first game on the 3DS. I have it right here. You can see this. You can play it on the iOS and Android. I think it's much more better graphics on there. But yes, so like I said, if you liked the old one, play this one. So let's talk about what makes this game good and why you should play it. Well, first of all, I guess the best thing to do is compare it to a game very similar, Pokemon. So Pokemon is a game where you're collecting monsters and you're going through this world trying to figure out the overarching plot. While in this game, I'd say it's much better of a game. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but Pokemon was intended to be marketed towards very, very young kids, while Monster Hunter, it's a little bit for everyone. And it shows, especially in the complexity of combat. This game has a lot going for it. Let's talk about a little bit of the story before delving deep into the gameplay. So the story takes place a little bit after the first game, probably like 100 or so years. You play as the grandson or daughter of the character from the last game. You don't really need to play the other one to get into this one, though it does help. You know, if you really want a little bit more of what to expect in the combat system, it's cool if you did play the first one, because you can see all the different upgrades in this one. But that aside, you are in this rider village, different from hunters. Hunters are solely people out to, you know, hunt monsters and kill things, and riders, well, they actually make bonds with monsters, but it's a little hypocritical because you bond with the monster by grabbing the egg and hatching it, and usually you're destroying and killing the parents, so it's a little bit weird there. But anyway, the whole goal of the game, like I said, is to get through many chapters of you going through these different islands and learning about why different catastrophic events are happening. So you start in your little village, you just became a rider, and they teach you all the basics. First of all, how do you get an egg? Well, like I said, you go into randomized dungeons that are all over the islands that you're in, and of course there are like certain monsters in areas, but it's cool because there are normal dungeons and then there's rare dungeons, and these pop up randomly. You jump into them and they have a sort of predetermined layout. Like, for example, a cave in a specific island might have 6 or 10 different types of cave layouts, but you can see all the different monsters in there, so you can go fight them. It's turn-based battling, and you can get a lot of resources and treasure in them. And at the end of the dungeon, it's not really that long of a dungeon. You can just run right to the end, but you are going to be able to steal an egg, and it's random, the kind of event that happens at the end. Sometimes there's no monster, sometimes it's sleeping, it's running around, or if you stay in that area too long, a monster might come and attack you. So after you take out the big monster, you can pick up the egg, and you have a couple chances. The egg, so you pick up an egg, it has a color, it has a pattern, and then Navarro, your little friend, will let you know whether or not it is a good one. Then you can keep picking it up, and then you go back to town, and then you hatch it. Now, this is the fun part about it. You're going to be grabbing up tons of eggs and hatching them, not only so you can collect all the different monsters out there, and the monsters, they come from all the different sorts of games. So if you play Monster Hunter World, if you play Monster Hunter Rise, you're going to be very familiar with a lot of these monsters, and you're going to be seeing them in a very different light. Rather than slashing and killing them, you're turn-based battling. So you pick up the monster, you hatch it, and you see a nice little baby version of them, and they all come out level 1, but they have different sort of stats, so you can keep rolling a monster, and they get different sort of genes and special abilities. So one monster might be better at taking damage, while another of the same monster might get like a cool like passive buff, like more HP, and then the rare ones and so on. So that's how you typically get monsters. You have 6 monsters in your party. You can switch out at any time, And it's really cool because just like Monster Hunter, you actually fight as well. So in the first game, you only had access to 4 of the 14 sort of Monster Hunter weapon types. In this one, you have 6. You have Greatsword, you have Sword and Shield, you have Hammer, you have Hunting Horn, you have Gun Lance, and you have a Bow. Now, it's really cool what they did here, because all the essence of the action Monster Hunter mainstay is in here. All the different items kind of help you out. For example, a whetstone in the regular game will make it so you can sharpen your weapon. Here, you don't really need to sharpen your weapon, but the whetstone has an ability where you use it, and for the next couple of turns, you have a chance to do a critical hit. So think all of those cool items that you know and love from that world brought into here, and they have some sort of a new effect. Paintballs, which hasn't really been a thing since like what, Monster Hunter Generations. I think in World and Rise they totally got rid of paintballs, but you would hit a monster with it and you can find out where they go. Well, in this game you make it so you can smack them around and then they run to their den and you can follow them and you can grab eggs and hatch them. So like I said, you can pick one of the 6 weapons and they all play differently. Sword and Shield, it is mostly an offensive and defensive attack at the same time. It's really cool because, like, for example, the the bow, you can charge and you can apply different coatings. So there's a ton of strategy here and I can't praise it enough. It is really, really fun and addicting. Let's get a little bit more into the combat. So you can have up to 3 people at once in the party, but you can keep switching them out. So it's you and a monster. And if you're playing with an NPC, usually it's them fighting with another weapon and then their monster. Or if you're going to be playing co-op, your friend and a monster. So what happens is you jump into battle and it's sometimes a giant monster, maybe a couple of tiny ones or a mix of them, right? So what happens is you start and you have different abilities. It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors in a lot of different aspects. So you have your basic attack with all weapons. You can do power, speed, and technique. And the different monster that you're fighting has a tendency to use one of those. And it's up to you to figure it out. Remember, learn, and counter them. If you're able to counter them, you get more bonuses. You can dodge damage, etc. And same for your monster. If you bring in a monster who's really good at using power attacks, you better be sure that the other monster doesn't counter you with speed attacks and etc. So the more you guess correctly and really attack the monster in a strategic way, you earn kinship bonuses, which is pretty much your like rage bar mana, which you can use to use special abilities. If you use a gun lance, for example, you can get up to 100 and fire with a wyvern blast. Is pretty sweet. And you can use monster abilities. They tend to attack on their own, right? But once they learn new abilities, you can be like, hey monster, heal me, and then it'll be using a little bit of the bar that you get. However, if you don't use any abilities together with your monster, you reach the rage bar to its fullest. You can ride on the monster, which is the whole, like, you know, big draw damage. So you jump on the monster and you both combine into one being. You both heal, and now your attack and defense is crazy stronger. And once you keep continuing to guess the monster's attacks and outplay them, you can use an ultimate ability, which can charge from level 1, 2, and 3. You smack them, and then it's all good. So then you jump off your monster and then you keep continuing the battle. There's a lot of small nuances here just from the Monster Hunter series. Like, honestly, if you like Pokemon, if you like RPGs, JRPGs in general, and you love Monster Hunter, this is a no-brainer buy. It is really, really, really good. I know I've just been explaining a lot of the gameplay aspects, so let's talk about other stuff. The graphics from the first game, it's good. The first game was a 3DS, so it's not hard to upgrade the graphics. However, I do have to warn you, if you do get it on Switch, the frame rates is very, very, very bad at times, and it really varies. For example, if you're in a cave, the draw distance is not that far. Yeah, you're gonna get a good, like, consistent frame rate, right? But once you're out in the giant world, and even in cutscenes, it is a little choppy, and, you know, hopefully I'm showing you some of that stuff here. When it comes out on Steam, I assume a lot of these problems will not be an issue, and it'll be like consistent frame rate. If not, modders will definitely fix it, because this game is going to be well received. It's going to be well received, definitely. I just don't know how popular it is. Considering they did make a second game, though, the first one might have sold well, and of course, they're coming off the high of Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise, and they're putting all their eggs in this basket, and they have, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the past couple of months, they have really, really, really been marketing this game, showing it all over the place at E3, and, you know, I'm very happy to have played it. I'm going to continue to be playing it, but god dang, this game is really good. So I don't know what else to say about it other than if you love Monster Hunter, if you love JRPGs, it's good. Think of it, like I said, as Pokemon, but with much more strategy. Like, there's a lot of strategy here. There's so many mechanics in this game. It's really hard to get to it, but you know, just like you can choose your favorite weapon in the other game, here you can also do your same thing. You can use a bow, you can use the hammer, and sure, some attacks and strats might be better with some monsters, but for the most part you can do whatever you want. You can also make armor sets, like a full armor set, and you can upgrade them, and each weapon has their own benefits and pros and cons, and then you can use different skills. You can put talismans on, and you can customize your monsters by fitting them with gems as well to customize their genes, and you can switch out monsters, you can switch out weapons on the fly. It's a lot. It is a lot. So the story's pretty it's interesting enough. Let's just say that. I don't want to spoil anything, but you start off in this, like I said, this little island, and then, you know, the main character from the last game is gone. His Monstie has somehow disappeared, and it's up to you to figure out what's going on, being the granddaughter or grandson. And then you go from there, and then, you know, a lot of twists and turns, drama, etc. I highly recommend playing it. If you are on the fence, play the demo. It's free, and the demo will last you somewhere between 3 to 5 hours depending on your play style. But then the full game, it's gonna be a lot more. So definitely try out Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. It's everything I wanted and more from the sequel from the first game. I love the first game a lot. So this one, it's just everything and better. So I'm going to end it here. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. It helps a lot. If you haven't already, sub for daily videos. Make sure if you guys want to see my Let's Play of the game, head on over to my VOD channel, Mabimpressions VOD, that's what it's called. And come by Twitch, where I'm going to be streaming all of it and more. Maybe we can co-op. Maybe we can do some PvP. Who knows? All links in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.